What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Terence "Bud" Crawford versus Israil Madrimov, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the vacant WBO interim super welterweight world title, along with Madrimov's WBA super welterweight world title. And this fight is going to be Saturday, August 3rd, from the BMO Arena in Los Angeles, California. And this fight is going to be broadcasted on the DAZN pay-per-view. And to get into both fighters' resumes, first, I'll go to Terence Crawford. He's fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska. He stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall. He also has a 74-inch reach, and he is a 3-division world champion, looking to become a 4-division world champion. He was the WBO, the WBO lightweight world champion, followed by becoming the undisputed super lightweight world champion. Then he was the undisputed welterweight world champion. However, now he was stripped of his IBF belt, so he's not undisputed. But still, 2-weight undisputed champion, 3-weight world champion overall. A great career out of Crawford already, and now he's fighting for his 4th world title in a different weight class. But he is 40-0, 31 knockouts, obviously an outstanding record to boast. But to get into some of his best victories, really his best wins at lightweight obviously are his wins over Yuriorkis Gamboa and Ricky Burns. Stopped Gamboa, defeated Burns by decision. And at super lightweight, some of his best wins would probably be Victor Postol, who he defeated by unanimous decision, along with his brutalization of Julius Ndongo inside 3 rounds for the undisputed crown. But then to list some of his best wins at welterweight, definitely they are his wins over Kell Brook, who he stopped, Sean Porter, who he stopped, and his most recent win, which was just about a year ago, literally to date a year ago, by when I'm posting this video almost, and that was when he completely destroyed Errol Spence Jr. in the undisputed welterweight world title clash that they had, and it was an utter domination, and it was a shocker. Everyone was thinking this fight was going to be really tit for tat, both guys going at it like a split decision either way, but Crawford completely destroyed Spence, and both of them were highly rated pound for pound, which is why Terence Crawford, although he's not ranked by BoxRec due to inactivity, since his fight was over a year ago, he is, though, currently ranked by by most people, along with Ring Magazine as well, a top 3 pound-for-pound fighter. Some people have him 1, some people have him 2, some people have him 3, and he's also the unquestioned number 1 ranked welterweight in the world right now. But to get into his opponent's resume, Israil Madrimov, he is fighting out of Uzbekistan, and he holds a record of 10 wins, no losses, 1 draw, with 7 wins coming by way of knockout. And he is currently ranked number 3 by BoxRec in the super welterweight division. He's currently definitely regarded as one of the top-rated super welterweights in the world, and he obviously holds the WBA super welterweight world title. And to get into some of his best wins, he really has 2 sensational wins in the super welterweight division to boast. His first really solid win came in 2021 when, in his home country of Uzbekistan, he was able to defeat Michel Serrault by stoppage in the 9th round. It was a controversial stoppage. However, it was a somewhat controversial stoppage, as I just mentioned, but he still was able to get the job done nonetheless. Not his fault that the ref stopped it. However, he did rematch Michel Serrault, and he was looking excellent in the first 2 rounds of that fight. However, Serrault did get cut from an unintentional headbutt, which led to the referee halting the fight, which led to it being declared a technical draw on both of their records. But Madrimov was probably going to stop Serrault again based on how that fight was looking in the first few rounds before that head clash. However, most recently, his biggest win would probably be his utter domination of Magomed Kurbanov for the WBA super welterweight title, which was vacant at the time. That fight took place in March on the Joshua and Ngannou card in Saudi Arabia, and he completely destroyed Kurbanov. Kurbanov was 25-0 going into the fight. He was highly rated, and Kurbanov just got completely picked apart by Madrimov. But to really get into my opinion on this fight, I think that this is definitely a very interesting one. I mean, this is Terence Crawford's first fight since his super high-level performance against Errol Spence Jr. Will he be able to match that type of intensity, that type of performance? I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, he also has a lot to lose. Even though he's moving up in weight, there's no belts on the line for him. He's still an undefeated fighter with that O on the line. And despite making probably millions of dollars for this fight, I mean, it's still definitely a risky challenge. Since Israil Madrimov is a very slick and well-rounded, well-schooled fighter, despite only having 10 fights and Crawford having like 30 fights more than Madrimov, I mean, Madrimov is a very, very well-skilled fighter. He could fight both southpaw and orthodox. He's 5'8.5" tall. However, he has a 68.5-inch reach, which is 6 inches shorter to Crawford's 74-inch reach, which definitely will bring some advantages, obviously, to Crawford. But they're almost the same height. Crawford got the longer reach. But Madrimov and both Crawford can fight both southpaw and orthodox, so it will be very interesting to see how both of them shift throughout the fight and sort of change their styles based on whether their opponent's fighting southpaw, orthodox, etc. But really, to delve into my opinion on this fight, I think Terence Crawford should get the job done here. I think he should get the victory. However, I think it will be a pretty hard-fought fight, and I think this will be a pretty similar performance to Terence Crawford's fight against Egidijus Kavliauskas, who he had to get through some adversity early. Kavliauskas won some rounds early, but then Crawford was able to get the stoppage late. And I'll dive into how I see this fight going right now. The earlier rounds, I think that Madrimov will have most of his success. I think he will try to start out fast. I think he'll try and fire out multiple jabs. And despite Madrimov in most of his recent fights, sort of power boxing, moving forward, out jabbing his opponents and really dictating the pace, I think in this fight, he'll try and stay kind of at mid-range or kind of on the outside and really try and not get caught with stupid stuff, like just really try and play it smart. I mean, this is his biggest fight to date, obviously. I mean, a huge jump in competition from a possibly number one ranked pound-for-pound fighter. I mean, just a really top-tier pound-for-pound level fighter in this one for Madrimov. But I think in the earlier rounds, he will have some decent success with the jab, and I think that Crawford will have to sort of figure out Madrimov in there as the rounds go on. But I think like after the first 3 rounds, I think we could see it being 29-28 either way. After the first 4, it could be 38-38, 39-37 possibly for Crawford or something like that. But I think it will be pretty competitive in the first quarter of the fight, the first 4 rounds. And then moving on sort of to the middle rounds, like rounds 5 through like 7, or 5 through like 7 or 8 or whatever. I think that Terence Crawford will start to pick up the pace, and I think that Madrimov will start to slow down because I think that he will be moving a lot in the first 4 rounds, which I think could sort of slow him down a bit. And I think that Crawford will start to find a groove, start to place his punches in there, and I think that he will start to sort of dictate the pace of the fight as the rounds go on, as he does. And I don't think that Madrimov will be completely counted out in the middle rounds. I still think he will keep competitive. I still think he could edge 1 or 2 rounds in there. But I think that Terence Crawford overall will start to see more success. His shots will start to land and start to do a bit more damage on Madrimov. So after like the first 7 rounds, I think that we could see Crawford up in this fight like 68-65, which is 5 rounds to 2, something like that. I think maybe 1 round closer, 1 round wider for Crawford, but I think somewhere around like 5 rounds to 2 could be in store for this one after like the first 7, and I think it will be a decently competitive fight up until the later rounds, where I think that Terence Crawford will really start to pick it up even more. I think that just like in his past couple fights, I mean, we've seen Terence Crawford perform super highly in the later rounds. I mean, he stopped Errol Spence late. He stopped Sean Porter late after really seeing that he was, his corner told him that he was down on the scorecards, even though he wasn't. His corner told him he was down, and he said, okay, he took that information in, and then ended up stopping Sean Porter in the round after. So he did very well late. Stopped Porter late, stopped Spence late, stopped Kavliauskas late. Stopped Jose Benavidez Jr. late. I mean, just a ton of these guys he stopped in the later rounds after just sort of easing into the fight and finding more openings. And I think that's what we will see. I think from rounds 8 through 12 in this one, the last 4-5 rounds of this fight, I think we could see Terence Crawford picking up the pace more. I think that Madrimov will slow down much more, being that he's never really been in the ring with someone at the level of Crawford, who's got that IQ, that pressure overall, and that power. And I think that we will see Madrimov fade in this one, and in the late rounds, I think we will see Terence Crawford start to break down Madrimov and stop him. It could be a standing stoppage, corner stoppage, a brutal knockout, whatever. I think that Terence Crawford will get that 30-second KO on his resume, whether KO, TKO, or the 30-second KO on the resume, and he will improve to 41-0, as I think he will defeat Israil Madrimov by stoppage in the later rounds. So if you made it this far in the video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys go hit the like button and comment down below your thoughts on this fight, along with some of you guys' other thoughts on some of the other fights on on this massive card. And I will be posting some more predictions for the other big fights on this one, since it's a pretty big night of boxing overall. So, I mean, in the end, I believe that Terence Crawford will get that 41st victory, 30-second knockout, and become a 4-division world champion, as I see that he will stop Israil Madrimov in the later rounds, most likely from rounds like 8 or 9 through 12. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.